Guys, in this video I'm going to show you guys how to fix a Cisco Unity Q module in a Cisco UC520, UC540, and a UC560. It's a small all-in-one business device from Cisco. This is actually pretty common. I've had this happen on about 5 different units, and you know, I do make a lot of auto repair videos and electronic repair videos, but really I'm actually an IT guy. I do IT, networking, and phone systems. But so this is actually what I kind of normally do all day long, is fix computer stuff. But so yeah, typically when your voicemail doesn't work or your auto attendant doesn't work anymore on either a Cisco Call Manager Express system or one of these UC500 series systems, usually it's a bad flash card. So on the Unity Q module, which is on a Cisco CME system, it's a separate little, I don't actually have one with me, but it's like a little daughter card that goes on the actual motherboard. But on the Cisco UC500 series, it's actually built onto the motherboard. And I'm going to, hopefully you guys can see this, but see those lights flashing? Well, that's your Cisco built-on Unity Q module. And this right here is the actual flash memory. And it's actually like a little mini integrated computer. It has its own RAM, its own little CPU, and the operating system, it's a Linux-based operating system, which is pretty cool. It's not the iOS flash. The iOS flash is in the front. So there's a trick to getting these, these covers off on the UC500 series. You know, you have the 4 screws on the sides, the 4 little black screws that go on the cover, but before you can even take that cover off, you have to pop the faceplate off. Because behind the faceplate, there's this little screw hole right there, and you have to take that screw out first before you can take that cover off. It's kind of like a hidden trick, but it's not really hidden. But you got to make sure you take the faceplate off, take that one screw out, then take the 4 perimeter screws off, and the case cover will come off. But typically this is sometimes you can repair these flash cards by just reloading the iOS, or the flash, the Q module, or the Q operating system. Sometimes you got to buy like an extra flash card, but this time I was able to fix the flash card. So all I had to do was I could reload the OS. But I mean, from what I've seen, is usually these things will get corrupted. The most is that when Unity Q is just shut down incorrectly, you just power the system off. That's actually when I see the thing get corrupted. So if you ever have like a power outage and then the system comes back online and you can't get to your voicemail auto attendant, typically what happens is the Linux operating system will boot up. It'll go into its boot phase, and then what happens is it just keeps on rebooting over and over again. So if that actually happens, then you have either corrupted software or a bad flash card. So either reloading the operating system or replacing the flash card and loading the operating system fixes it. So let me show you on my laptop the steps to get into it, and a couple tricks I use to make it easier, because it can be a kind of pain in the ass to get into this config module. But let me show you. Now we're on my laptop here, and to get this thing restored, it's kind of an unusual setup how Cisco does it. So you need to have 2 different kinds of servers running. You need an Ftp server. That's going to actually load the core software, the Linux OS, but before you can even get to that point, you need to have a TFTP server. So you have FTP, file transfer protocol, then you have TFTP, which is trivial file transfer protocol. So the trivial file transfer protocol server I use is from SolarWinds. It's a free TFTP server. And you also need, I use a FileZilla server for my FTP. So, but before that, you need to actually have the Cisco UC520, 540, or 560 software pack. Download it from their site, and it usually comes as like a little zip file. I've already unzipped mine. I've already done this procedure already, so I'm just going to show you what I've done and what I normally do. But okay, so I've already had this unzipped, so normally I just unzip that file, but so I go here, and normally I'd unzip this Q file, and what you're looking for is all these files are here. So you're going to copy and paste all the files in that folder. I'll give you my FTP/TFTP root directory, my root folder. It's under C drive, TFTP root, and I mean I have other iOS stuff I do for Cisco switches and routers, but yeah, I've been doing Cisco stuff since 1998, so I've been doing it for a while. Okay. Alright, so yeah, I copied all those files already before in the past. I've already reloaded the software. I also fixed this. I probably fixed at least, I mean, 8 to 10 of these things, you know, with the same exact problem. So, alright. Okay, so the first thing I do, here's a trick though. I'm gonna go back into the Cisco. So I've already hyperterminal. If you're a Cisco guy, you already know this. So I'm using a Terraterm as my hyperterminal. I'm using like a USB converter to serial, and I'm consoled into the Cisco unit. So the first thing you need to do is, this makes it easy because you can't, the way it reboots, it's hard to see it. Okay, so the command is service module integrated service engine 0/0, and I want to create a session. This is actually a working module, but normally this thing would actually just be rebooting on its own. So let's try this. I don't know if this is the default or not. That's good. And that doesn't work. Okay. Yeah, I forgot I changed the password from the default, so this is actually a customer system that I'm fixing. So okay, I'm in Cisco Unity. So typically, like normally you'd actually just be in a rebooting phase if this thing wasn't working right. Like you'd be seeing the Linux operating system run over and over and over again, and it's kind of hard to stop it. So what I do is, to get this thing to reload so I can get to it really quickly, is I go into PuTTY and I PuTTY into this thing, which is 192.168. This is default IP 10.1. And so I do the same thing. I'm going to enable mode. Alright. Okay. So I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but okay, so I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to go to service module integrated service engine 0/0, and what I want to do, I'm going to do I must have a misspelling there. Oh, I just forgot the D in there, integrated. And I should do I'm going to do a hardware reset on this thing. So I'm going to do reset. So after the integrated service engine, let me see if I can zoom in a little more for you guys. So I have the Terraterm here. It's already consoled into. It's already into the Unity Q module. And then I SSH'd into it, so I can hit it and I can come back to this one right here. So watch. This just makes it easier for me because I mean sometimes it's difficult to stop it in the process. So if it's doing a reboot, you want to session into the Terraterm first, SSH into it. That way you can do a hardware reset, and you'll see on the Terra screen right now. But watch. Boom. Yes, I want to confirm. Now this will start booting up. So you want to hit Shift and hit star 3 times. The asterisk command 3 times. So once it does that, I'm just going to start doing it now. Okay, so now I'm in bootloader mode. So bootloader mode is actually where you tell the system what file you want and what's going on. So normally you would type in let's see, it's boot helper is actually the device. That's how you initiate the process. But let's do a show config. Maybe I can zoom in even further so you guys can. So now that I'm actually in the right thing here. So I'm going to do show, well, let's see what the command is. I'm really into this thing, so it's show config, that's what I thought. Show config. Okay, and that's going to show, okay, this is the IP address of the key module. Subnet mask. So the TFTP server, that's actually this computer right here. That's the IP of my computer here. It's 192. Just want to verify and double check. Didn't change. Yep, 10.11. So that's the IP address of my TFTP server. My computer running SolarWinds TFTP, and also the computer running the FTP server. So this file right here, this is the default. So you want to match whatever firmware, whatever software the thing Q is supposed to have on there. Just download that software pack from Cisco or get it from the internet, wherever, this is the file that needs to be in that TFTP directory, the qinstaller.uc500.8.6.5, and then internal. So once we already had that, if you just match these settings, if you do need to change the TFTP server address, you would just type in config. So let me type in config. So it's going to ask me, okay, yes, IP address is 10. I'm not going to change anything, so the default should work. Hit gateway, everything's going to stay the same, and because I'm not changing nothing. Okay, that's it. So nothing changed, so I didn't have to do a flash write. And so the next thing I do is type in boot helper, and as soon as I type in boot helper, it's going to immediately contact the TFTP server and try to download that file. So let me see if I can get this thing in the same window, or at least so you can see the. It's kind of a white background, so this is okay. Well, you'll see. Okay, boot helper, and as you can see from, it's downloading the file right now from the TFTP server, and I can verify from SolarWinds that it's pushing down that file. So once it's weird the way they do. I don't know why they do it that way. It doesn't make it's stupid. But so once I've downloaded that boot file, the boot helper file from the TFTP server, the next phase is the FTP software on there. So it's I'm not going to go through the software installation process, but because I've already fixed this model again, and it takes an hour, so I just wanted to show you. I wanted to get you guys to the point where you guys can actually get this thing fixed. So it's going to go through this whole process. It takes a while, so you got to be patient, and let it do its thing. Sometimes it looks like it might stall, but just let it run. Okay, so the next phase here is so the next phase would be to install the software, and normally you do is you'd click on one, and then it's going to ask you for the actual FTP server, and I'd put in 192.168.10.11, and then the next thing would be like when it asks you for the FTP server, you put an FTP : //192.168.10.11. And let's see here. And after it asks you for the IP address or the FTP server address, FTP : //192.168.10.11. The file that you want is highlighted. It's going to ask you for the file name, the package name. Zoom out. I don't know why it's not focusing here. Let's start with this. There it goes. It's q-vm.k9.uc500.8.6 package. So that's the file name you put in there. When I ask you for the file name, you put that file name in there. And then typically, for my FileZilla server, this is my Cisco testing station. For the username, I use Cisco, and the password I use Cisco. So you hit return, and the next step, it actually downloads the software. It will format your flash card. And then it's going to ask you what language you want to install. You click on yes. For me, I'm in the United States, so I hit option 3. And then it's going to do one more reboot, and if everything goes as planned, you should be back in queue. So, like I said, this one I lucked out. The flash card was fine, just the software was corrupted. But sometimes you gotta put a new flash card in. So I've had to do that a few times too. So half the time I have to put a new flash card in, half the time it's just corrupted software. So, all right, hopefully this helps somebody. Or let me know if you have any questions. I mean, over the years, I probably had to do this about 20 to 30 times. 10 times with a UC500. I've done a lot of CME systems. Yeah, we've installed a lot of Cisco phone systems. So, yeah, let me know if you have any questions. All right, thanks.